So I wonder if this has ever happened at one of your meetings. Perhaps you're a small business and you and your business partner, or maybe it's a family-owned business and so several members of your family are sitting around and evaluating your website. Maybe you're on a board of a nonprofit organization, maybe you lead a ministry, or you're on the staff at a church and you're evaluating your website. And the question becomes, well, we've had it for a number of years, but is it really doing what it's supposed to be doing? And this is 2017, so is it really functioning like a website should in 2017? My name is Randy Vaughn, and I want to share with you 5 tips that'll help you in evaluating your website. So let's get right into it. The first thing, and I think it's one of the most important things, you must admit that the mobile craze over the last 5 to 10 years has certainly just transformed the way websites work. Certain research shows that anywhere from 50 to 70, 75%, and younger generations are even more so looking at websites on some sort of mobile device, a tablet, or maybe even the biggest thing they've got is a laptop. Some of you grew up just looking at a desktop computer, and maybe that's all you do now. But the mobile generation and the use of mobile devices has transformed the way you should look at your website. So the very first thing you should look at is, how does your website look and operate on a mobile device or a tablet? So just kind of look around. Go ask members of your team, customers, people on your staff, friends, family, anybody, and say, do you have an Android device, an iPhone, an iPad, an iPad mini, or a desktop, or even a laptop, and just ask them, how does our website look on all those different screens? And that will be one of your first ways to evaluate your website. If in any way you still got to kind of zoom and pinch that screen and kind of zoom in and out to try to see the content on the site, that means your website is not responsive. It's not responding to the various different devices that are out there. Your website must be responsive. Now I'm talking about the entire site. Now sometimes there's plugins, there's things that you can do on a website that you make your homepage kind of a mobile-friendly homepage. But I think we move beyond that, where even because sometimes you don't always land, if you're a customer or you're someone looking at a church, I may come to your website not necessarily through the normal like search or just try to type in your URL. I may be looking at it from a tweet that was sent out, or somebody on my Facebook page sent me a link to a certain blog post or another page on your website. So I may not hit the home page first. I may come from another direction. So you need to look at how all of your pages respond to the different screens that they're being viewed on. Second, it needs to be targeted at a clear audience. Now this is so for instance, let's say you're a church, and we know churches have a lot of people in their audience, if we want to call it that, from people who are members of that congregation. They are certainly an audience, but we're also looking at people who are not yet members of that church, but who are exploring or looking for a church. And so we have to look, and I think you need to make a decision. Who is going to be the target audience of your website? Because it's really difficult to have a website targeted at 2 or 3 different audiences. Because what happens? You come to the website and it's cluttered, it's chaotic, and there's things about for new people, there's things about for existing people, and it just gets to be really cluttered. Primarily, your website really should be focused on new people. So let's take, for instance, a business. Your website should have a real clear connection to a potential new customer, somebody who's looking at your product, your service for the very first time. Maybe they have come from a friend, a referral from a friend, or maybe they have done a Google search and found you that way. They will come to whatever page they do on your website, and they will want to make a connection with your business, with what you offer to them. Particularly if they're Googling something, a problem, then they want to know when they come to your website, can you handle that problem? Can you address it? Can you solve their need? And so I always look at the phrase, you need to write your content, you need to share your content video content, any way that you connect with that new customer that's looking at your website. You need to address their need, problem, pain, frustration, or fear. So all of those different kind of words, sometimes they're the same, there's a lot of overlap, but if they have a need of an oil change, if they have a need of a brake repair, then you'll want to address that clearly on the homepage. If you have a fear about going to the dentist, well, the dentist can tell all about the various things that the dentist offers, the services the dentist does, but one of the best ways to connect with a potential customer is for that dentist to address the fear. So one of the fear might be addressed by having the dentist himself kind of do a little short video. We don't know who you are. If we're doing a Google search for dentists, we may not know who you are and who's going to be operating on my teeth. And if I've got children, can I trust the dentist to be, kind of have a good kind of bedside manner with my children? A good video might show that. Or it might be some education about some of the process of what goes on. If you're a mechanic and you might want to show, if you work with customers on, one of the things that mechanics always deal with is a trust issue. And so if you have an ability, and maybe you can show evidence of this, maybe you can show some way that you take customers back and show them how their brakes really are about to wear out. If you can show on your website, hey, we address when there's a big problem, we show the customer what it is that's going wrong. That goes a long ways to building trust. And so you really want to address those kind of things. And so make sure that your website is targeted, and I think primarily to one particular audience, and that's new people. If you're a church, certainly you want to have a place members can find their information. I always tell people, hey, put a little portal out there, maybe one page in which new existing members of your congregation or even customers that want to come back to your website on a regular basis, they can go to one place and then they can go find all the different stuff that they need, but it's all kind of on one page off the home page. Maybe it's one little link from the navigation menu that they can get to, but primarily all the other text, all the other video, all the other pictures, all the other buttons and action items on the homepage really are targeted toward the new customer. So keep that in mind as you do that. So responsive, make sure your website is targeted. And then third, I think you have to tell great stories of success. So again, churches should be have a really good connection with new people, showing some videos of people who have come to their church, maybe with a particular problem. Maybe they just didn't feel like they were loved, and then they came to your church and they found a loving community. Maybe they had an addiction and they came to your church and they have been set free from that, whatever that case may be. Or, if they've come to a dentist office and they had a fear about dentist office and they didn't know if they could trust the mechanic. Well, then you can show in a video, or maybe you can show a screenshot of one of the reviews that you got online. I think those are super important to show on websites. Maybe go to your Google page, and if you've got a good review there, make sure take a picture of it, screenshot, and put that on your homepage so that there's a connection there. So that's a story that's being told, because stories like that kind of get past all the fluff and all the bullet points and all the drop down of here's all the services you offer. That's so traditional in the way websites are done. We want to tell about us. But the reality is, it's not about us, it's about them. It's about our future customers. It's about our future people that we want to walk in our door. And so that's what we want to do. We want to focus the stories of success, of transformation, of ways that we have met those, we've solved a need, we've addressed a problem, we satisfied a frustration or a fear, those kind of things. If we can show stories of success of that, I think that really goes a long way. I put that in the category of evidence because, again, your bullet points, your drop-down menus of all the different services that you offer, the different programs that you have, they're really more than, that's just really kind of a case that you're making. Like if you're in a jury, the jury's looking, they're wanting to hear beyond just the case that the prosecution makes. They're wanting to really see evidence before they can make their decision. So there's claims and then there's evidence. And so stories like this really fall into the category of evidence. Okay, after we've done, make sure we're responsive, we make sure we're targeted and who we're addressing. We want to make sure these stories are told. And then the fourth thing is to make sure there's some clear action. So again, maybe not cluttering it up with so many different things that someone can do that they kind of get lost on what they're supposed to do. You want to really kind of drive them home. I look at it like you should drive them to one of three things. One, maybe they're just becoming aware of who you are. Maybe they've never seen you, never seen your name before, but they did a Google search, or maybe a friend recommended you to them, but really no more than that. They don't have any awareness of you. So the first action that should be on your site is some way to address, hey, learn more about us. Here are these stories, here are these testimonials, and just kind of learn more about us. So that's the first action that I'd want to give somebody in that category ability to take. They may not be ready to, what would be another category is to actually make what I would call a transaction, a commitment. That's there's a trust relationship with you. Maybe they've already heard about you, they've already done their research, they've watched you online, they've heard from a lot of other friends, they've done your Google research, all those kind of things, and now they're ready to commit. They're ready to buy, whatever the verb is, but that, for your business, that's where another category might be. So you have some people who are just becoming aware of who you are, so they're just getting to know you. And then there's some other people who already have a trust level with you, and they're ready to commit. They're ready to make that transaction, to sign that paper, to attend that new member class at the church, or whatever it is. They're ready to commit. But then there's another category right in the middle between those two. You have people who are just getting to know you, and people who already know you well enough to commit. But there's that other middle that could be someone who knows a lot about you, but they're not quite ready to commit yet. So you want to kind of give them some clear action as well. Again, that might be some further reading on testimonials and case studies. It might be a really clear, it could be a video, an audio, it could be a kind of a report that's given to say, when you're checking out competitors in a business and different dentist office, these are the kind of things you might want to evaluate when you're evaluating and looking for a new dentist. You want to make sure that they do these things and have this technology and are able to, and they do this as a follow-up, and you kind of outline that for them, and it's a way to differentiate yourself from the competition. And that really, they come to know you, they just know you, but the assumption is they're also kind of getting to know maybe 2 or 3 or 5 other dentists, and they're just evaluating now. So after they get to know you, they got to have some way to really do further analysis, evaluation. So you want to give them some steps to do that. So again, reviews kind of help move people into that trust level where they can say, I haven't been to this church before, or I haven't been to that dentist before, but boy, there's a lot of other people that say, these are great people, and I can trust that. So you want to make sure that you have something to kind of move people from no and then to that stage where they like you a little bit, but they're not sure they're ready to commit, all the way to commitment. So make sure your website is very action oriented. And then finally, the last thing that I want to tell you your website should do is to integrate with social media. A lot of websites, I still find websites that I can't find the Facebook or the Instagram or the Twitter, but I just don't know where it is. And sometimes it's hidden over into the contact us or about us page. That's not acceptable. Your website should have multiple places. Maybe it's some sort of master page where those social media icons are on every page. Some way, it should be easy for me to go from your website to your social media. Why? Because of what I just said in tip number 4, was because some people are coming to your website. Maybe it's a Google search. Maybe they did come from a link from a friend who recommended you, but they just come to an awareness stage. But one of the best ways for you to move them from just becoming aware to what I call affinity, all the way up to commitment, then to move them to that affinity, that like stage, then social media can do great things with that. If your social media system is really working and you're doing a good job with posting kind of things that resonate with new people. So you can take, the website for the most part is going to remain somewhat static. I mean, I hope there's some movement on your page, and your website is dynamic and it's changing certain things, but most people are maybe not come back to your website every day, and check in and see if you got a new video for me. Most people don't do that. They will go onto their social media channels every day and go to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter and maybe some other things, but that's where they go every day. And so you want to connect with them every day, and you do that through that kind of the outpost of social media. So that's one of the key things your website should do, and make a real clear connection. And then certainly the reverse is going to take place. You want to make sure on your social media channels you're driving people back to the website as well. So those 5 tips are going to help you have a dynamic website in 2017. Be responsive, be targeted, tell the stories, make it action oriented, and integrate with social media.